And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back into here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, which I dropped this morning, I want to go ahead and check it out because there's some big Marvel news. No, they didn't wait to go to Comic-Con. They're skipping Comic-Con. But behind the scenes, Marvel head Kevin Feige had a sit down with several reporters and outlined the upcoming future. Not as in specific as I'd like detail, but he did mention many things about the X-Men, Blade, Tony Stark, Captain America, whole bunch of stuff that would come up after Secret Wars. So go ahead and check out our thoughts on it on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, plus the future of late night television. And is anyone, since Marvel and DC aren't going to be there, going to be at Comic-Con? We tell you why you should still go check out all the great things that are there at San Diego Comic-Con, indeed. Thought this show was, again, tough. I wasn't going to go ahead and do any show today, but there was a couple two-way signings, so I thought I'd go ahead and give everybody a mention on there. So, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and just talk about that here in a little bit, but I want to make sure you got to get a shout-out to Joe Soro. If you didn't check out, he was on earlier today at the Joe Soro channel on YouTube. Go ahead and check out him and Sean Grice, their conversation on many topics, including movies, television, of course, the Dodgers, the Lakers, and more. So go ahead and check it out right now or later on. Probably later on if you can, because I'd love to have you stay with me. So go ahead and check it out later on tonight at the Joe Soro channel on YouTube. Plus also, of course, don't forget about all of our great friends, including Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Also, as well, don't forget, of course, at Alfred Esmond on Twitter. Report_Court is Stone Hansen, our draft expert. Have a little bit of difference from time to time. I know he said earlier today he was sad to see Trey Jameson go. My question after what I saw in the Summer League, all 8 games, or the games that he played in, was why? Because he really didn't do a whole lot. But again, he has really a keen eye for the NBA draft. So go ahead and check out what he's doing today on that end, because a lot of the picks he does get right. And you make sure you check out what he's doing at Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast, and of course at Report_Court as well. I need to get a chat going with Critical Drinker. Well, I do that already with Joe Soro. He's about as critically drinking as you get on occasion. Xbox Game Pass says, LOL, I will change my name to PlayStation Plus. Okay, well, knock yourself out. Not as great a value as Xbox Game Pass, but there you go. But once again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Don't forget the Lakerholics crew, those guys that are there. You know that Laker Tom is still giddy, like he was 60 years younger because of the fact that the Lakers signed his latest man crush, Marcus Smart, although he has to clear waivers first. So he has essentially agreed to a 2-year, $11 million deal, which I did find out the second year is a player option. So, a lot of incentive there for him to do well, and we'll see if he does. But yes, wanted to go ahead and make sure you mentioned the Lakerholics as well. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, yo, and all the great people, all the great places, all the great things that are part of the Lakers Fast Break family. John Costa, Clutch Talking Lakers Corner. He is still putting out that short content for you each and every time out, so go ahead and check out what he's doing. Big shout out to John Costa. Got the chance to talk to him earlier today. He is all over social media with Lakers Corner stuff, so go ahead. Lakers Corner, Clutch Talk, whatever he does, go ahead and catch it today and follow it and like it as well. And speaking of liking, following, subscribing, and algorithming and all that great stuff, go ahead and make sure you do all of that by helping us out with those algorithms, those all-important algorithms, by trying to get us to a larger audience, a newer audience, or, as I said in one of my favorite fun movies out there, Starship Troopers, fresh meat for the grinder to come on over to the Lakers Fast Break by making sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. We truly appreciate it from everyone right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully, Joe will join us here in a little bit, maybe Magic as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and cover some of the minor dealings today. Lakers shored up what I think is pretty much most of the roster without any dramatic changes, because the Lakers today finalized two-way deals with Christian Koloko and Chris Mañon, who played on the Golden State Warriors Summer League team. He averaged just under 10 points, but I think what people were most attracted to was his 1.6 steals and 1.4 blocks and 44% shooting. He is a guard, just to let everybody know, 4-year guard out of Vanderbilt. I did see him play in the game with the Lakers. Again, he finished his summer league with a nice 17-point performance. So hopefully he will get a chance to go ahead and get some action with the Lakers. But again, he is going to be more for the defensive side of things if he makes it, because it looks like the Lakers are trying to be somewhat cognizant of the fact that they do need help on the perimeter. And hopefully Chris Mañon is an individual that can develop with the team as well. But we will see what happens. But again, yeah, if you want to check out Chris Mañon, it is his stuff that he's available for this summer league was looking up. If you look up the Golden State Warriors, and like I said, his last game, 17 points was his most impressive indeed. But his defense with the 1.6 steals and 1.4 blocks was the most attractive to the Lakers, I believe. And hopefully they can get a defensive cornerstone somehow with him and Adu Thiero indeed. But it is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Christian Koloko coming off that Thursday performance, I believe, with 12 points and 6 blocks after a not really that impressive summer league. Kind of turned things around in that one game, and obviously that was still interesting enough for the Lakers to go ahead and sign him to a two-way. And then also as well, of course, Eric Dixon, he's already signed a two-way with the Lakers that he agreed just after the draft, being an undrafted individual. JY said, did the Lakers waste a 10-day contract option on Koloko? He's not good. I saw his hands. They aren't the greatest, JY, but you can't teach 7-1. We just talked about Alex Len the other day, JY. You cannot teach 7-1. You just can't. And I know Tuff was saying, the other day, as far as when you looked at Koloko, if he looked like he gained weight, what I saw live and what I saw, I didn't see very much of a weight gain or strength gain from him. And you don't need as much playing on the summer league as far as because a lot of those guys are still developing. But again, catching the lob is something he still could do. His hands are still a little bit much in question. Doesn't really give you much on as far as the offensive perimeter. But again, it's something that we could go ahead and take a look at as far as another shot at the 7-footer. That's basically why he's still on that team, guys, because, with that 6-block showcase that he had on Thursday, the right frame of mind, the right timing, the right defensive pattern, you may be able to get away with him for a few minutes here, a few minutes there during the course of the season. But we will have to wait and see if they utilize him. Of the 3 guys there, because I have not seen Eric Dixon other than what I saw in his college years. He did lead the league and did lead the NCAA in scoring last year. Other than what I've seen there, I've not seen if he's going to be able to translate that to the NBA as of yet. So with that, I don't know how he will progress. This kid, Chris Mañon, again, very encouraging as far as the 17-point performance in Summer League just of the other day. So we will have to go ahead and see what happens with those two. But again, Christian Koloko, if anybody's going to get some time on the two-way, it's going to be him once again. Legend says, Gerald, am I pissed we couldn't keep Goodwin? I'm not pissed. I just said he tried hard. He really did a lot to make it back in the league. And I really thought that he was going to be someone that eventually would earn a continual contract going forward. But it looks like he's not going to be doing it as a Laker. not really mad about it, but again, you've got guys like him and Shake Milton. If you knew already, how long ago did Rob know that they were going to be able to go ahead and work a deal out with Marcus Smart? If that's the case, I would have liked to have seen those guys given a chance to latch on with another team. I mean, those two guys will probably make a camp somewhere, but it just makes it harder for them to go ahead and find the best opportunity for them to go forward. But Goodwin, again, I like the kid. I wish he will be able to, for his sake, get a more consistent stroke for the outside. And if he does, I think he could stick in the league. But we will have to say adieu. And Sports Baby with his Goodwin that he used to do on playback is no longer going to be a thing for us here at the Lakers Fast Break. So I wish both guys luck. That's just all I'll say. Legend said, do you think Ayton is better than Gasol? And do you think Bronny can become better than Fisher? No on the first one and no on the second one. I'm going to say probably of those two questions, I would say, is Ayton better than a Hall of Famer? Definitively no. And do you think, especially because he's a draft, he is legend. Great that we got him. Plenty of upside, plenty of opportunity for him to make a lot of money, plenty of opportunity for him to do well alongside Luka. But he is still at this point a draft disappointment, not a draft bust. I said a draft disappointment because as a number one draft pick, he should be working on one of those mega contracts by now. And obviously he didn't. And I'll leave it at that. As far as Bronny and better than Fisher, no, I don't think so. I think the game has changed. The same things that allowed Derek Fisher to not only just stay in the league, but be a starter and be a major contributor and a clutch performer at times for the Lakers will not be the same thing or same things as far as what Bronny will be allowed. His pathway to consistent minutes is going to be a little bit different, a little bit harder because the league has gotten, I think, in my opinion, more talented and a lot harder to progress if you have certain deficiencies in your game. And as long as he cannot shoot consistently from the outside, that will continue to be a detriment in his game. He has to get to be a respectable player. Otherwise, he comes in, they just drop coverage on him to death, and they'll get him right back out of the game. It's just that simple. But we wait and see. Bronny could take a look at Marcus Smart, who's been a chucker, as Sean said. And you'll hear the word chucker a lot when associated with Sean, because he's not exactly thrilled. He's not exactly the highest on the Marcus Smart signing, I will say. But he has been a chucker at times. And his percentage has not been great. But if Bronny can get to the point where he's in the 30s, maybe 35% from three-point line, then I'm hoping he will be able to go ahead and become a regular contributor. But I will say this. The fact is, you're going to have injuries over the course of the season. There is going to be some type of matriculation. There is going to be some type of injuries happening to the Lakers. It happens to every NBA team at some point in the season. So at some point, the fact is, even with Marcus Smart, our team is still not deep. It still does not have a lot of options on that bench as far as consistency and productivity is concerned. So with that, JJ will be looking down, and you see me looking down right now. JJ will be looking down that bench from time to time for someone, because that's what coaches do. They have to, because if you've got 15 guys suited up for the game and players 7, 8, or 9 are not working for you or haven't worked for you like 2 or 3 games straight, guess what? You got to go to the next man up. Let me try that. Next man up. That doesn't work. Next man up. And at some point in time, Bronny, I'm predicting now, will get an opportunity to be playing in like a first half or a rotationary basis. I don't know if he'll stick. Right now, I don't think he would stick, but his development from now and take some of the positives away from his summer league performances, if he can keep working on that and be able to go ahead and have that translate into a strong training camp and exhibition season, he could take that confidence and then when called upon, be able to give you something. Again, his career pathway, because of his deficiencies, is going to require a lot of hard work on his part. I'm not going to say for sure now that he doesn't make it, because he improved by leaps and bounds over this time last summer. This time last summer, he was absolutely pathetic. He looked worse than G Leaguer, period. He was terrible. The guy didn't even deserve to be out there on an NBA court, in my opinion. He flash forward to a year later. It's still inconsistent. It isn't always pretty, but it is more confident. He looks more confident as a player now than he did last summer. So that is encouraging to me. And again, step-by-step basis, we've got him here for 3 years, at least. The 4th year with a team option. So whether or not we like it or you guys don't like it, it is what it is. And again, just by the fact that, you guys do, yes, you guys, I'm not going to sit here and insult you guys. You guys know that there's going to be injuries during the course of the season to some of the players on this team, whether they're small injuries, longer injuries, what have you. At some point in time, JJ will look towards the bench and he will call Bronny's number, and it's up to him to produce. And that will be his opportunity to get more playing time, to be in more games. Does he take advantage of it? We'll have to wait and see. Nepo baby, whatever, Anthony. I'm just telling you how I see it. I didn't think Bronny was an NBA player last year. Didn't think he was even close to an NBA player last year. He has taken a step forward. He looked more confident, which is what we talked about with Dalton Connect and second-year players. Second-year players have to go into their summer league playing with a lot more confidence. And however inconsistent it was, because the shooting still wasn't there for Bronny, but he was more confident in his playmaking, but his turnovers were still high, but he still was able to go ahead and put points on the board. He looked pretty confident inside the three-point area. I will give him that. He looked very confident and effective in the three-point area, inside the three-point area. Outside the three-point area, it's still your guess is as good as mine. Defensively, it is what it is. As far as, I saw him, I wish he would stand defender, but again, just by the sheer fact that he will be there sitting on the bench, whether Joe, me, or anyone else likes it or not, the Bronny haters, the Bronny lovers, whatever. The fact is, as Joe knows, just by the fact that there'll be injuries this year at some point in time to the Lakers roster, JJ will probably have to give Bronny some burn, and it's up to him to go ahead and make the most of it. Even if it's just like a 5-minute stint here, a 5-minute stint there, it's up to him to make the most of it. But speaking of Joe, he is here now. It is Joe Soro, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Go ahead, Simblades with a Y.com, his company, also as well, Corrupt on Steam, COREUPT, and of course the Joe Soro channel. If you did not see Joe Soro and Shawnee, Magic Man Sean Grice, earlier today, please go ahead and check it out after our show is. And then also the Joe Soro experiment on playback as well. My friend Joe, the two-way rosters, the two-way players on this roster have been finalized. Chris Mañon from the Golden State Warriors. I think a lot with him is more on the defensive end than the offensive end right now from what I'm seeing. 4-year kid from Vanderbilt, from Chris Mañon. And then also as well, Christian Koloko, who was really up and down on his performances in Summer League, was very ineffective at times, but on Thursday night, Joe, this is what I think solidified his position, the 12 points and the 6 block shots that he got on Thursday night. Your thoughts on these two? I know you don't know much on, we all don't know much on the kid, Manion, as far as it's concerned. So we'll have to see if he'll even get any burn. But most likely he'll get most of his burn in the G League. But your thoughts on retaining Christian Koloko on the two ways? I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. You can't. It's the same thing with Alex Len. You just can't teach 7-1.
Oh, can you at least teach a little bit of footwork and some competent basketball skills? No,
well, that's the next step, hopefully.
no. The Lakers need to find a backup center before the end of the year, a legitimate one. That's kind of where I'm at on that. I didn't think about it too much up until just recently, because then I realized, because you're so concerned about dealing with the two big issues, the starting center and then a defensive perimeter player. Holy crap, they got him. Now you got those out of the way. Now you start thinking about, well, what else is needed? Oh, you need another center that can actually play in the playoffs and be productive. Sliding LeBron at the 5, sliding Rui at the 5 has never worked, even in the regular season. Am I wrong on that?
As far as Rui at the 5, the only
LeBron
time where
at the
those
5?
Well, Rui at the 5 only for those fleeting moments against Jokic in the playoffs. You remember he had some early success against Jokic guarding him, but then as soon as Jokic and Malone at that time figured him out, then it was not quite as
the stopping of Jokic without a legitimate defensive center was always get to Jokic earlier in the year when the Lakers finally were able to beat Denver and beat them well. They were dropping on Jokic before he'd get the ball, so he was uncomfortable the entire game because he didn't know what was going to be coming at him. But that doesn't happen in the playoffs. Things adjust. Series adjustments are different than, oh, we got to get ready for the Lakers on Thursday, and then you won't see the Lakers again for another 2 months. When you're working on one team for what could be 2 weeks, things are a little different. That's why Austin Reeves gets exploited on defense, because they know, hey, we'll put Jalen Williams or Jaden Williams or Jesus Williams. I don't know how many Williams there are in the NBA now, but it seems like every team has a Williams in it. If the Lakers didn't veto that trade, we'd have a Williams in it. But when you know you can exploit a major weakness in a series, they usually do get exploited. And the Lakers will get exploited if they have to use Rui or LeBron as a backup center. So by having a legitimate backup center, someone who could actually shoot too, that's why Horford's been on my mind a lot lately. And I know the Lakers at its current contract setup can't get him. This is where Rob has to do something to figure that out. Or at least figure it out by the deadline.
By the way, Kai Jones, can we get off Kai Jones, Johnny? As much as we would like him, as much as your team, Sacramento, would like him, I believe he is still listed as a two-way for Dallas. I don't know how you can sign him if he's contracted to another team, unless you make a trade.
Oh, and no more Vanderbilt on a dunker spot, please.
Oh my God! But then where will you put him? You can't put him out at the 3.
What did they do to Old Yeller?
You got to tell that to Empire Jeff and Jamie Sweet. I'm telling you that.
Jeff, I think, screwed up one time. He didn't say I didn't know what a dunker spot was, but I think he meant I've never played the dunker spot, which is true. But that's not how you play street ball. I sort of played the dunker spot. I was always at the block. It's just not. It's not.
You were posting up.
Yeah,
you weren't
correct.
You weren't turning yourself around with your hands ready to catch a ball, supposedly for a layup or dunk.
I played basketball in my main days in the traditional 5, because I was usually the tallest guy, and I would get to the block and have the guard give me the ball, and that's usually how we played. But to be in the dunker spot, you usually have a pick and roll that starts the set, and then you're there to catch the ball, and you're there to catch the ball if the pick and roll draws in your guy. The problem with Vanderbilt is he can't catch the damn ball. And that's a major problem when you're playing in the NBA and you need people to catch a basketball. So Rob has until the deadline to get a backup center and possibly another perimeter player that can kind of score. Now, if LaRavia is the guy that gets to the Lakers and really does well, then maybe a little bit of that isn't as catastrophic, because we already set up the 8-man rotation. The 8-man rotation for the run is established if you can get that backup center. So you're going to have Luka, you're going to have Reeves, you're going to have Rui, LeBron, and then Ayton. That's your 5. And then you have Marcus Smart, LaRavia, and then you need that backup center. If LaRavia is indeed the guy that comes and hits his mark with the Lakers, hits good shots, plays decent defense, then your 8-man rotation in the playoffs is finally set. Whereas in the last few years, the Lakers have had really essentially a 5-man rotation, and 5 plus 1, 5 plus half, basically. They don't have a bench, and I'm not relying on Gabe Vincent or Kleber or Vanderbilt in the playoffs. I'm sorry. I've seen that story. I've seen that show, and I don't want to watch that show. They are the Walking Dead after Negan arrives. Useless episodes, useless shows.
But they keep renewing it, as the Dead Island one. It just got renewed for season 3.
No, not the spinoffs. I'm talking about the actual show.
Oh, the actual show. Yeah, the actual show, like you said, died with.
And it's sad too, because
when Negan pulled out the baseball bat. Yes.
When Negan, it wasn't just the episode when Negan arrived. It was the setup that I remember. Unfortunately, I was one of the guys that knew about what was going to happen. Not all the way, but I knew kind of who was going to be taken out. But I still felt the impact. And that's why I judged that so highly, is I kind of knew what was coming. And I was still amazed at how good TV it was. I don't think I still stand on this. I thought that was one of the greatest dual episodes I've ever seen on TV. And I've seen The Sopranos, I've seen Breaking Bad, I've seen Better Call Saul, I've seen Entourage, I've seen a lot of great shows. That 2-episode Negan prep and arrival and execution, literally, was as good of TV as you could have. That show should have ended a year later with Negan, something happened to Negan or whatever.
And then when Andrew Lincoln left, it just made everything worse.
I don't know. It wasn't so much the characters leaving. It was the story. It went from what I felt was an apocalyptic show into all of a sudden they started filling boxes. We had to know what every person was doing. People were having kids. Like they were actually thinking like they were getting married and wanting to have kids. I'm like, wait, what are you guys, stupid? Like this, I mean, I know the suspense of disbelief is sometimes needed in certain things, but really, and then of course we have to know what everyone's preferences were, and the story kept getting more and more dialogue with lousy actors. It's just, it got to the point where I think it got too expensive. Sometimes when you've been behind the scenes in production, you start to realize, did they do this to save money? You could see it sometimes. When you see Superman, the cast of this Superman that just came out, it was so obvious that was a money saving idea. Like, we got to not spend X amount of dollars for this because you really screwed it up the last time. What was that, like a $400 million budget, Man of Steel? And it wasn't even for the budget.
Well,
it was
this Superman is also reported between anywhere from 250 to 350 as far as the budget on this one. So this one ain't going to this one isn't cost cutting as well. And again, I was talking to my daughter. I said, do you realize that if it doesn't make $700 million, it will probably not break even out at the years. But the way Warner Brothers and even Marvel, Kevin Feige in his interview the other day said, look at Superman, how well it's doing. Well, like, is it really doing as well as you think? And Warner Brothers is already, thank you Until Wild for the super chat. Is it really doing as well as you think out there? So again, I just put things in perspective. They're already building a universe. That's great. That's very thought worthy. Supergirl coming next year, and then Clayface after you had that's awesome and all that. But again, dollars and cents wise says maybe it's not the best to go ahead and be able to go ahead and just tell everybody that you've got this whole universe lined up first. Let's see if it works before you go ahead that far. But I like Superman. I thought it was okay. And I think a lot of people do too. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. So, Joe, with that, the Lakers have essentially their entire roster put out as of now. There's 14 players on there. They still can sign one veterans minimum player. But I don't know. Is this it? Do you think he'll just keep that slot open? Rob Pelinka, he'll keep that slot open. Truly appreciate Into Wild and No Joker for the super chats. By the way, No Joker agrees with you that he's got to take Joe's side with a Negan take on that. Your thoughts on this, though? I'll put it to you this way with Vando before we go ahead, and I'll let you answer on this because Vando, I want to put what JY said. I'm looking to scroll up. Great comments tonight already, you guys. Just truly appreciate it. Here, coming up here. Vando just plays hard. His defensive IQ is below average, and he has bad hands on offense. With Vando, that doesn't leave you many options now for someone that's on the contract for another 3 years. But besides Vando, I think our roster, from what I'm seeing, is going to look pretty much like this as it goes into training camp. Do you think there's more room for trade? Do you think there's another signing in the works in the weeks ahead, Joe?
Jackson Hayes and Vanderbilt may have some use in the regular season. However, don't let them lull you into a false sense of security. There's nothing's going to change with Jackson Hayes and Vanderbilt when it matters. If you want to fulfill what we want fulfilled in the LeBron preservation side of things, and you believe that Vanderbilt and Jackson Hayes can play a part in it, I'm more than willing to accept it, even having to watch Vanderbilt attempt to catch a basketball every now and then. But by the deadline, you need to rectify those deficiencies. You need to get at least one more person likely on the perimeter that could benefit you from a scoring standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. And then you have to have a backup center that you can rely on because you're not going to play DeAndre Ayton 48 minutes. And I don't want Rui or LeBron playing center. This is a 4-series playoff run after an 82-game season in an era where players are soft. And in LeBron's case, he might be one of the few people that are not soft, but you can't expect a 41-year-old, 23-year vet to just keep playing like he did 5 years ago. That's just not gonna fly. You have to preserve LeBron James. LeBron James cannot exceed 32 minutes a game the whole year. And I would absolutely try and get it even lower than that. I would try to get to 30 if you can. And if Vanderbilt and Jackson Hayes can help do that, fine. But Rob Pelinka has until the deadline to get this thing added to the pieces, or they're not going to win the championship in any way. That's all that's left at this point.
Okay. Well, again, I think the roster is pretty much set now, unless they do want to go ahead and keep that or use that final roster spot on a veterans minimum. And I'm still within the Intel Wild Camp. I still think they should give Amir Coffey a look, but it looks like that's less and less with each day. Not going to be the case. I don't see a trade coming in the near future, Joe, unless, like you said, it's for a big name. If it's for a big name that somehow magically appears, obviously, I think that changes the perspective. But I think the Lakers are going to battle with this crew for now. Now, mind you, again, as we talked about yesterday, if the Lakers are in a position that you think, you know what, it's time to go ahead and make some changes or make some tweaks, come the trade deadline or thereabouts, we could see the Lakers making some maneuvers if they feel they are in a position to win and win big. If Luka's having an MVP like season, if some of these guys that are really playing for next season, as far as for next summer, with big contracts like Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, to an extent Austin Reeves, Rui Hashimura, et cetera, if all those guys are playing well and the Lakers are in the top 3 in the Western Conference, that definitely, I think, will change the perspective on changing their timeline and maybe becoming more of a win now team, Joe.
Luka looks like is going to be on a mission, and he'll have a little more stamina too to start the season, being that he's playing for Slovenia as well. That helps. And then if everyone ups their game and everyone that's a significant part of this has a reason to play better than they did last year, because they have millions and millions of dollars at stake next summer. And I hope it doesn't become a Miles Turner type thing where you can still stink and still get a $100 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second. What if Austin Reeves just plays okay? Well, based off Miles Turner, he got a 4-year, $25 million contract. Not only that, but the team that signed him put themselves in as bad of a position in terms of dead money that I've ever seen in the NBA. Usually this kind of stuff happens in the NFL when a dumb team like the Cleveland Browns continue to sign people and have dead money for years and years and years. Dallas Cowboys have dead money for years and years and years because Jerry Jones doesn't know what the hell he's doing except make money and promote, which just drives me nuts. I think the Dallas Cowboys would be bigger than they are now, believe it or not, if he just stuck to what he was good at and let real football people handle the team. But I digress. The key here is the Lakers have too many unknowns at this point. We don't know what these guys are going to do. There's no real answer on, is DeAndre Ayton going to step it up? I think Marcus Smart will, but what is...
Well, he has to stay on the court. I was telling that to Anthony. He has to stay on the court.
But was he off the court because of motivation too? A lot of times these guys miss a lot of these games because maybe Marcus Smart woke up one day and said, man, I'm playing in Memphis for Memphis. Ja Morant is... Triple J, we're not really winning. Does that play a factor in that? I don't know. Then
well,
again,
remember, Memphis at one time during the year was up as high as second place in the Western Conference, which I think at the time Marcus had already been injured and was out of the lineup. But you're right. His willingness to come out, especially when he got into or he was traded to Washington. I mean, he did play 19 games there, but
I have seen burnout many a times in sports. Who on this team would be one of those guys? Who's likely to be that guy? Probably somebody like Marcus Smart. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying that that could happen. Who here on this team is going to be motivated by JJ Redick? Is JJ Redick a motivating type? I don't believe a player, a professional, a grown man should be motivated, but we do live in a world where sometimes you need to kick somebody in the rear end and kind of get them to move. That some guys need that. Not everybody, but some guys need it. The question I think I've really kind of gotten into my head now after all that's settled and all the discussions that we've had is now I'm starting to slant over to the coach. How is JJ Redick going to manage this? Is he going to have a voice that listens? Can he get Connect's mental state back to normal? This is the type of stuff, when you look back on Phil Jackson and why he was a great coach. So you look at the players that, and I know Michael Jordan probably had a lot to do with this too, and it's easy when you have a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant or a Shaq that's there to kind of chaperone. But one of the things I noticed is you had a lot of guys like a Steve Kerr, a John Paxson, a Bill Cartwright, guys that were not necessarily journeymen, but not necessarily the stars of teams from before and obviously during. Cogs in the machine, role players. And why is it that those guys' games escalated around a Phil Jackson winning team type atmosphere? Can LeBron be a leader? Oh boy, I just opened up Pandora's box. Can LeBron lead this team? LeBron has been known to be a front runner. Oh, I opened up 2 Pandora's boxes now.
Oh, there you go.
But it's true. LeBron does very well front running. He's probably could be the greatest front runner I've ever seen. When things are great, LeBron is a high-speed bullet train. But the second that train has to stop because of bad tracks, maybe a little kid in the tracks, whatever, things usually don't end up very well. This is just the history of what I've seen. They've ended well 4 times for him, but this will be his 23rd season, and it's not ended well 19 times, right?
Yes.
Or at least 18 times if you don't count this year. Freudian slip or maybe things to come. So, yeah, it's good. Thanks, Sports Baby. Sharon's not here. So
there you go. Intel Wild on the Super Chat. And once again, this is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you stopping by and joining us. Intel Wild on Super Chats. Again, he's the initiator of all this with Amir Coffee, but he said, it's coffee time, please. Grab some coffee ASAP. I agree with you, Intel. I think Amir Coffee, from what I've seen, played on a top 3 defensive team in the NBA last year, shot 40% from 3. Seems like, why is he still looking for a job? I would fire my agent. So that's all. That's the first thing I do. If now I just got to be on the minimum and I was looking for something a lot more, I'd have to go ahead and fire my agent at this point. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, Amir Coffee is still getting ignored by a lot of people out there. Maybe there's injury concerns that we don't know about, guys. But yeah, I don't know why Coffee is still out there. Sharon's. She's in here. She heard you, Joe. She heard you.
I knew she was here. I just wanted to draw her out.
Okay. All right. She heard you. CMB says JJ was literally popping champagne after beating.
It's why I did it. I'm just having some fun.
Well, again, CMB, a rookie head coach, and we talked about this throughout the year last year. It's going to be an up and down ride with a rookie head coach because there's a learning curve. I don't care how many years JJ's spent in the league. I don't care how many podcasts that he's done. There is always a learning curve once you step into as a player or as a coach or as a GM. And you are going to have your ups and downs until you become the coach you were meant to be. And this year is going to be a very pivotal year because he needs to take the things he hopefully will have learned, Joe, from his first year, the things he did right, the things he didn't do right, and be able to apply them going forward and understand what works and what doesn't work in this modern game of NBA basketball.
I think his communication is my problem. I already know what he thinks about the NBA, and unfortunately, it's not good.
I think his adjustment skills still need some refining, personally. His second half adjustments primarily. But that comes with experience. That comes with experience. He got owned in the second half of many games last season by more experienced coaches.
I'm going to look at JJ's performance just for this year.
Okay.
I think you all know where I stand on the future of JJ Redick.
Yes.
Very similar to Rob Pelinka.
Uh-huh.
Because common sense says when a new boss comes in, the boss likes to hire his people. So I'm going to focus on 2026 for JJ Redick. Now, there's a chance that these guys stay, but it's going to have to come at a unique ending.
Uh-huh.
They have to win. And I'm not talking about winning in the first round. I'm talking about they got to win the last round. That's it.
Okay.
That's the reality of that. Deep down, is JJ Redick the guy? My instincts say no.
Well, no, Joker. Yeah, we know he has 4 years left on his contract, but as Joe has said before in his passionate arguments with me about Mark Walter and the whole thing, which I would agree, when you buy a team with a valuation of between 10 and $12 billion, does a coaching contract, will that ever get in the way of the actual coach you truly want to coach for this team?
It's and even if you don't include current Lakers situation, you look at other situations when there's a new ownership that takes over and new executives, it's the same story. They eventually will get the guys that they want. And that's just the way it's going to be. So getting attached to anyone right now other than Luka Doncic is kind of it's not really productive for you. I wouldn't dwell on it too much.
Okay.
I would focus on 2026 and try and make a miracle. Try to just, if I'm Rob Pelinka, if I'm JJ Redick, hey, just focus on this season. See if you can pull a rabbit out of a hat and win a championship.
So let's just say you're Mark Walter, Joe, and you come in there, you make the changes you want to make, and you want a new coach in there. And I'm putting this into what Anthony is asking right now in the chat. Truly appreciate you guys asking these great questions in the chat. So who would you think would be a better fit for this Lakers roster and Luka going forward?
I don't know. If I'm Mark Walter, I am going after Sam Presti, Tim Donley.
Conley.
I'm sorry, Conley. Jeez, I was just talking about the crooked refs, so that came out. Sorry.
We have hired today as our player.
I combined both names because Donahue was all like I was talking about Donahue a few times today. for whatever reason, because all my degenerate cousins are all freaking gamblers, and I was talking about it. Anyways, Conley. And I want Presti.
Oh yeah, that's the goal. But he's
all right, Gerald. Here, I'm gonna go all in on this.
He's ready? Entrenched, man.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Good luck on that one.
Here's how I play this. But I'm Mark Walter. Mark Walter doesn't get involved. Mark Walter is a delegator. He is the yes to the money guy. When they need a couple bucks, they knock on Mark Walter's door. Mark, is it okay? And then Mark will look at it and he'll go, yeah, it's okay. Mark, is it okay? He'll look at it. Can't do that one. That's who he is. So I'm going to play Mark Walter. I hire the best executive in the game, Sam Presti. Sam Presti doesn't want to leave Oklahoma City. I'm too loyal, Mark. I'm sorry. I appreciate your offer. Well, that's respectable. How about $50 million a year for the next 5 years? And you can have this incentive, that incentive, whatever incentive. We would really love you to come build us a championship dynasty here. We already have a piece, a prime MVP candidate for the next decade. We would like you to add to that. We would like you to do what you do best.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have now solved that problem, and then the next step is Sam Presti now going to find the right coach. And who is that right coach? Now, again, I'm playing Mark Walter. I'm letting Sam Presti do it. But let's just say Sam goes to Mark. Who do you want, Mark? Do you have any preference? Just so I can kind of get an idea what you like. I mean, the first name that came to my hand is Jay Wright. There you go.
Want to go?
Now Jay Wright wants to retire, right? He doesn't want to do it, right? Much like Presti saying, I'm loyal to Oklahoma City, you got to bring Jay over and say, Jay, I want to introduce you to Luka Doncic. And I want to see if you guys have some chemistry. And they will, because I think they have the same temperament. They both are winners, love to win, and are very competitive. And let's see how this plays out. If you can find someone that's like that, and I'm sure there is somebody out there, but I'm using Jay Wright because everyone knows who he is. Those are the kind of guys I want on this team if I'm Mark Walter. I want someone who knows what they're doing. Sam Presti's that kind of guy. And then you have someone that demands excellence, and that's someone like Jay Wright.
Oh yeah, but they're gonna, in order to get Presti, A, you got to get permission, and B, better back up that Brinks truck, man, because that
it's not something that I haven't already seen. Andrew Friedman was working for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was under contract. He was a few games away from maybe even winning a World Series in 2008. He built a crazy culture in there that's still doing well in Tampa.
I would love it if Sam Presti would be over here, man. Trust me.
And it doesn't have to be Sam Presti. I'm just using that name because we know who he is. The Lakers and Mark Walter, and with the help of Magic Johnson, not as an executive, but as a liaison, because Magic Johnson is one of the best liaisons in sports. It's not an accident that he steps 2 feet into a Washington Commander's office and all of a sudden they start winning. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence, because how can it be? Every time he steps into something, something good happens. Now, the part where he screws up in is when he has to work as an executive. I'm not talking about that. Magic Johnson is not there, in my view, and in anybody's view, really, to be calling the shots. He's there to be the liaison. He's the guy that comes in the room and makes everyone happy and calms everything down and brings the confidence that that environment is where you want to be. That is everything that Magic Johnson has been since he has been Magic Johnson. The ultimate, greatest, singular team player that's ever been in sports, in my view. No one has had the impact of a team like Magic Johnson. I don't think anybody would ever argue that. Even Michael Jordan would probably say that he is the greatest player in a team, in team basketball, in team sports. So use that to your advantage and bring in the best people, which they have a track record of doing. And then you don't have to have these discussions every summer. Is this guy good enough? Is this guy going to be able to handle this? Is this guy going to be able to not talk out of his ear? It's always something with these guys. Whereas when I go to the Dodgers side, I don't hear anything from Stan Kasten. I don't hear anything from Andrew Friedman. I don't hear anything from Brandon Gomes. I don't hear anything from Mark Walter. You don't hear anything. Why would you hear anything? Every offseason, they're doing something to set the team up. Then it becomes Dave Roberts' problem. And then what the hell are these players doing, or great at what they're doing? We're not sitting around going, what the hell, Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes. I think the only time we'll mention Andrew Friedman is if the trade deadline is coming and it's a positive thing, not a negative thing. And this last offseason, even more silence. Why? Because Andrew Friedman makes things make sense. When he did what he did this summer, what he did this offseason for the Dodgers is he overcompensated on depth. Why? He answered the question. He goes, it costs more at the deadline. And it's 100% correct. So when I'm hearing Dodger fans, oh, we need to go trade for Clase and we need to go trade for Tucker because they might not sign him, and like just nonsense. I'm like, this team has so much depth. It doesn't need to go acquire anything and then lose their young studs to boot. That's not what he did this offseason, to go and still give away good up-and-coming players, because that's the beautiful thing about the process of that team is not only are they in it every offseason and in it during the season, but they've also still been able to keep their farm system in being one of the best in sports, in baseball. How do you do that? How do you do all that at once? It's very rare, and they have it. So now I want you guys to imagine this. This same leadership that has 4 months to officially take over. Imagine every offseason you're excited because they're bringing in the talent. During the season, they're being competitive. And on top of that, they're drafting well. Imagine that. How are you going to feel during draft time, during the season, during free agency? Imagine having all three of those things working for you finally, right? Now, you're not going to win a championship every year. That's not realistic. But you're going to have a legitimate chance because the leadership knows what they're doing. They know what to bring in. And the people that they're bringing in are wanting to be there. And that always adds a little bit more juice to that player when they want to be here.
So, Thameless wanted me to elaborate more for Travone my thoughts on the expiring contracts. The expiring contracts for the Los Angeles Lakers, there are several. When it comes to how they get more valuable, as we get into the season, as you guys know, based on wins and losses and the directions of teams, as it gets closer to February, these teams start to understand who they are. Whether they're a competitive team, whether they're a playoff team, whether they're a championship team, or whether their season has gone awry and they need to look into a different direction. So, if the Lakers are competing at a high level, if they are in the midst of a possible strong playoff / championship run, in February, those expiring contracts to teams that are looking to rebuild in the summer and going forward, they become much more attractive than maybe at this point during this summer. So when you look at it, again, those expiring contracts of Reeves, Rui, Kleber, Vincent, all those expiring contracts become much more valuable as it gets closer to the end of the season, because when you take on those contracts so late in the year, you do it usually with the specific purpose of wanting to clear that cap space that summer for potential trades and free agents. So when Joe says, if we're going to make a trade, or we're probably going to be able to invest in a backup center or invest in more of a 3D wing or invest in this player or what have you, it's most likely a major trade would be happening closer to that period of time, especially with the expiring assets, if the Lakers feel like they want to go into more of an all-in mode at that point in time. Because I truly feel, even with the signings, Joe, that they have, this Lakers team has not fully gone all in. They're still having, their eye is still like, they've got one eye focused on the now, but they got one eye, they're cross-eyed, Joe. They're cross-eyed. So their one eye's going in the direction of 2026 or 7, and one eye and how much cap space that they'll have at that point in time. And then also one eye is still making this team competitive for the now. And with that, if this team shows, Joe, with MVP season like for Luka, with all these guys that are playing for incentive contracts in the summer, like Ayton, like Smart, etc., playing at an extremely high level, getting this team to a top 3 seed in the West, I think that conversation changes, and I think those assets become more valuable to trade for something that will help the Lakers be even more competitive in a win-now situation come February. Again, that's all dependent if they're going to be a top 3 team right around what they were this time a few months ago in February.
I think the answer to that question will be once the transfer is done, I think you'll probably get the answer. I don't think we're going to get the answer right now, unless you're looking at current decision making is play it safe. There's some truth to that. I think they're playing it safe. Opportunities have come their way. From what they're saying about Luka being a recruiter, there could have been agents talking to each other, agents talking to certain players, things being heard in the grapevine, and all of a sudden Luka's like, ooh, are they really going to buy out DeAndre? Maybe Luka's agent says, hey man, I think they're talking about buying out DeAndre. Ooh, okay. Let me call DeAndre real quick. Hey, bro, what's up? Hey, I'm hearing some talk that you might, you thinking about getting bought out by, or that you're going to get bought out by Portland, right? Yeah, it's a possibility. Hey, man, you need to come to LA. Really? And then they go through their thing. Same thing with Marcus Smart. And hey, beautiful thing about hearing that story is all these weirdos who don't think Luka is going to stay with the Lakers for the next decade. Now that gives them a little bit more of assurance, right? I don't know where this discussion came from. Where, is Luka going to sign an extension? Is Luka going to? I'm like, dude, where in the hell? Do you know how the NBA works? Where's he going to go? And why would he leave and lose more money? He already got shafted at $100 million 3 months ago. You want him to slash another $100 million? No, Luka's not going anywhere. Definitely not going anywhere for a couple reasons. Number one, he's going to make more money here, not only just in salary, but also in notoriety of being a Laker and endorsements. But if you think that it was all a coincidence that the Mark Walter group and the Guggenheims decided to finally get this thing cleaned and cleared, you don't think they had a say in some way of this thing happening in February too, when they got word of it, then you probably don't know business very well. All the stuff is connected. It's all connected. And I believe once ownership is transferred to the Guggenheims, you'll start getting answers really, really quick to all your questions. Remember, there are no salary caps to resources. There's no salary cap in bringing the correct executives, the correct coaches, the correct training staffs, the correct scouting departments, building out departments, building out the analytical department, amenities. There's not going to be any penny pinching like it's been the last, what? You can probably say last decade at the very least, since since Jeannie and Jim and the Bus family have taken over since Dr. Bus passed. You're not going to have those problems. Your thoughts are not going to. Jeannie's thoughts are not going to be, oh damn, if I go a little too much over here, I'm gonna be in the red. It's not going to happen with the new ownership. So they can concentrate on the team, solely on the team, improving and winning championships. But we're not going to really feel that. You are not going to feel that. I've felt it already. I already know how this ownership operates very well. And I've felt it for 12 seasons. And it says, when you're coming from my area of being a Dodger fan, so let me put this in perspective. I was fortunate to be at the beginning of my Dodger fandom, right at the heart of the 88 season, where the Dodgers ended up winning a World Series, and history and all-time crazy home runs and amazing pitching performances all were there. Then, after that, it was misery for about 20 years. And this is with 5 straight Rookies of the Year. Unfortunately, we had to see the O'Malleys, the original owners. The O'Malleys sell to Fox. Fox comes in, trades Mr. Dodger for a bucket of chum and a couple of pennies. Sorry, Gary Sheffield and Charles Johnson. But to me, I don't look at Gary Sheffield was a mercenary, and I knew that even then. Gary Sheffield does not care about anyone but himself. That was a horrible trade to come to LA. And Charles Johnson, as good as he was behind the plate, couldn't hit a ball to save his life. So Fox comes in, ruins everything, and then eventually realizes, oh, wait, we're not really good at running a baseball team. Then they sell it to some a-hole who had a bunch of credit cards. And he actually did better than Fox, hilariously. They actually, won a division in 2004 and played in the playoffs a little bit. And then acquired Manny Ramirez in 2008 and almost won a World Series that year, except for bad relief pitching. Geez, where have we heard that before?
True.
And then made one more run in 2009, and then that was it. Everything else started going downhill. And then eventually Guggenheim's bought the team in 2012, and then the rest is history. So for me, I went through that misery of being a Dodger fan for almost 30 years, 25 years of just knowing that they're going to suck ass because ownership wasn't good enough. The winning wasn't there. There wasn't even a lucky year where they can win one. It was just you knew that they were going to fold at some point. To now, you're expected to win a championship. Now, Lakers already have that, right? Lakers already have that reputation. Hey, the Lakers are here to win championships. We don't put anything up in those rafters unless they're championships. Even the in-season thing is a championship banner, right? As much as I don't like it there, but it's still a championship of some sort. I mean, they did put Taylor Swift's banner up there, right? So you know that they'll put a banner up there that's not maybe a little suspect, but it's there. More banners than the Clippers when they were there, right?
That's true.
So the excitement is I've already seen the story. And it's very clear that the story is going to have a sequel, but it's going to have a different theme. And that theme is the LA Lakers. And that's where my mind is at the moment. I'm not really thinking too much about does this team have to compete this year to win a championship? I want them to have a chance at winning a championship. I wish for it. I hope for it. But it doesn't dominate my mind because I think it's unrealistic to think that this team at the moment is a favorite to win it all. They're just not equipped yet. And we don't know how this team is going to play together. You have to wait it out. Got to see how this plays out a little bit.
Good question, though, brought up by Legend of Experiment earlier. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro from the Joe Soro channel. Also, as well, go ahead and catch him on playback as well, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. If you're new, we had almost as many as 100 people on here tonight. Please go ahead, like, and subscribe, except for the individual that was on earlier that we kind of just trashed, and hopefully he went away in the comments. But everybody else has been great in the comments. Please go ahead, like, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Legend of Experiment had a really good question, Joe. Looking back on it now, Dalton Connect may be adversely affected because of what happened with this trade. But let's just say his natural deterioration was going to happen anyways, whether it's physically or mentally. Looking back on it now, should we have gone through with the trade for Mark Williams or not? I'm torn on it. I am torn on it. I'd probably say no, but it's not a definitive no, just because of the fact that we wouldn't have any other first-round draft picks right now in play because of it.
Well, you want to ask yourself, and even though we'll never know, do you believe that Mark Williams would have made the difference against Minnesota?
Minnesota, but it wouldn't help. I don't think the Lakers would have gone much farther with him.
No, actually, I disagree because they would have faced Golden State, and I am sure the Lakers would have beaten Golden State. Where they would have likely lost is the Western Conference Finals. So let's talk about that for a second.
Although Gobert probably would have dominated.
Is it worth? Let's go through the trade. Let's go through the trade. Let's say it happens. Let's say they cleared it. The Lakers are able to beat Minnesota. Then they face the Golden State Warriors, which I felt 100%. Because, of course, you feel 100% now. But at the time, before you knew Steph Curry was going to be injured, you didn't know that, right? But now that we know, they would have beaten Golden State. Steph didn't even hardly play. He was done. He was toast. So the Lakers would have beaten Minnesota, beaten Golden State, and then would have met Oklahoma in the Western Conference Finals. Now, the interesting part about that is the Lakers really matched up well against that team, even without a center. So what do we really know about that series? But let's just say they go 6 and lose. Was it worth it? Was it worth losing that first round and really not have Mark goes as a free agent and goes somewhere else, right? Was it worth just going to the Western Conference Finals to lose the first round pick? Forget about Connect for a night now. The answer is probably no. But what if you beat Oklahoma City? See, it's so many ifs there.
So many ifs.
So many ifs. And this is what happens when you're playing, when you're pinching. It's what happens when you relinquish more than you should have in the past. And it's been like this since 2022. It's been a catch-up game. It's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And then you go maybe 2 steps, but you still get 1 back. That's how this is kind of played out. There is that occasion where you are getting a step ahead, but you're never really going 2 steps, 1 back at the very least, or just 2 steps and that's it. It's very hard. Although you could say the Luka thing was 3 steps. But you've had so many 1 step up, 2 steps back that you didn't catch up enough. And then you have the Marcus Smart signings and the DeAndres, and then that you can say is 1 step, and then another step. But where the Lakers need to go to now in the next year or two, they need to get back into 2 steps up at a time, 2 steps up. Make sure you have your draft assets. Make sure you're bringing in the right guys. Make sure your leadership in the front office and in coaching is on point, because that will all resonate. People want to come to LA. So if you are still looking at the 2027 season and you haven't won a championship in 2026 and 2027, it doesn't matter. This is LA. This is not the Washington Wizards. This is not the Charlotte Hornets or the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Toronto Raptors. If there's money to be spent in 2027 through trade or through free agency, there will be somebody that will want to come to LA and collect a max contract and play with Luka. Especially when you have the Guggenheims calling the shots.
We'll see if that happens. But once again,
I feel like I'm am I sounding preachy tonight?
No, you're not. I think you sound calm, cool, and collected. It's a little bit. I don't want to go preachy on you.
I don't know if it sounds weird in my head. I feel like and the stars are coming, and we are here to give you all hope. Feel very, very reverent.
Just feel very confident in your beliefs based off of track.
And I do. I actually am very confident. This was a game changer. There was so many changes in the positive since February 1 that it's hard for me to really. I wasn't affected by the trade, the rescinding of the trade, because I kept thinking, oh, well, they keep the first round pick, and I still want to see if Connect is worth something. Like I wasn't affected by it. Mark Williams was a nice player. Definitely had physical attributes that probably could have worked. But at the same time, he did have a history of not being healthy. Did you want to really give up a potential Bogdan Bogdanovic type player and a first round pick for someone like that? Yeah, I think in the end, I think they kind of wised up and said, I think I'm going to roll back on this one just in case. And I think it was a good call either way.
And just so much that they gave up. And we've seen since then that there's been a lot of trades, Joe, with not that kind of correlation to the assets being given up. The Lakers, obviously, I think, in my opinion, whether you like Mark Williams or not, I think they were offering a little bit too much in order to get them. I think they got a little spicy because they got Luka and they wanted to get a big man in here ASAP. And I think it just it brushed and clouded their thinking just a little bit in order to go ahead and get him here. Again, Mark Williams, hopefully he will play well in Phoenix, even though they just drafted a player with the similar type of attributes as him, plus Nick Richards on that team for Charlotte Centers West. Which still blows me away what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing in Phoenix because obviously it just makes absolutely no sense. But okay, what have you. But yeah, I wish him the best luck. Ayton comes in. Let's hopefully he will, again, a lot of money for him is on the line as far as him being able to go ahead and have that on the horizon with a good season with the Lakers. And if that's the case and he has a good season with the Lakers, 65, 70 games of 15-10, which are right around his career averages, that could be very beneficial for the league. But most importantly, that could, as far as him being able to be a free agent, that's going to get some money out there, but it also could be very beneficial for the Lakers with a good season as well.
And Enrique made a good point. The Dodgers punted the 2023 season to some degree because they knew Ohtani was coming. And guys like Corey Seager didn't get signed to the contract that he wanted. Otherwise, he would have stayed. They didn't sign Trey Turner, who was in his prime. Sometimes you just got to scale back a little and really, really say, if we can just be a little patient, we can really get what we want and set the stage for what we want. And the stage is putting the Celtics behind us in the next 5 to 10 years. The Dodgers need to pass them to the point where they are the past. They may have run the title game for 70 years now, 60 years. But then once this next 10 years is done, I'll be 57. Let's say 10 years. I'll be 57. I don't think I'm going anywhere.
I'm not even going to count to where I will be.
I'm pretty healthy. I think 57 may be the time I actually have a chance to decide that if I want to retire. I will never retire, but I could retire. Late 50s has been something that I've talked about with the fam. I'm like, I think late 50s is probably when we're going to probably start doing some things. The kids will have been grown. They'll have been out of college. To me, I know it's hard when the kids are going to school. It's hard to go places a lot of times. Me, I'm like, as soon as you guys are done with school, we're going to go places in November, not in July when everyone else is, right? So 10 years, much like my life, now that the new ownership is going to be coming in, I fully expect the Lakers to be way ahead of the Celtics. That's a beautiful thing to know. It's nice to know that I can maybe be in that lifetime where the Celtics had, the Celtics in 1976 had what? Really? They were ahead by a lot. You're talking about they had 13 championships when they won that title in 76. The Lakers had 6, 5 in Mini, 1 in LA. I'm using 76 as the number because that was a couple years before I was born. So now, fast forward. Lakers ended up from 1980 till now. Lakers have won 11, and the Celtics have won 5. It was a reverse.
Jeremy, you're trying to pitch hard that Ben Simmons deal on a minimum contract, and 6'10" with a bad back, can't shoot free throws, offensively challenged, good distributor, but he's not the player he once was. And just the fact that he's caused so much havoc for other teams would be probably the best reason to probably stay away from him at this point, Joe. I think you agreed with that in the comments.
Yeah.
With all apologies, Jeremy. I don't want all due respect.
Yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with Ben Simmons. He's a quitter. He's scared. He's focused on other things more than basketball. I wouldn't ever want anyone like that on my team. At least Vando's not a quitter.
Uh-huh.
You give him that, but you're comparing him to a quitter. So I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't want quitters. I don't want quitters on this team. This team has enough holes. You don't need to have some guy who's going to slouch the moment he gets the ball into the basket. I have never in my life, up until I saw Ben Simmons, pass a ball above the rim. I've seen passes under the rim. I've seen passes in the layup area. Still mind-boggling there. But I've never seen a guy jump in the air half a foot from the rim and pass the ball. I actually saw it with my own eyes. This is not an exaggeration. Saw it in a playoff game. How do you pass the ball when you're in the air dunking the ball? You're 6'10". There's a major mental issue there. And the Lakers don't have time for that. This isn't a charity case. This team's trying to win a championship in likely LeBron's last season. I don't think they need to deal with another head case there. Ben Simmons is about as Australian as my foot. At least in my eyes.
And Jeremy, we did mention Amir Coffey several times. Again, Intel Wild was the first to really get on that train a few weeks back, and shout out to him. I agree with him. I think he would be a great option for the Lakers if they want to fill that last roster spot.
No, his head won't be right, Dameless. You think this guy's head's going to be right playing in the pressure cooker like L.A.? The L.A. Lakers, not the Clippers. Clippers are shit. No one cares about the Clippers. And he's not the underdog. This bum has been a overdog, and he's played like a dog in the process. No, I don't want to have anything to do with him. I already have enough headaches with Jared Vanderbilt. I don't want to deal with another one, especially him.
Trevone, DeAndre Hunter, he is owed about $25 million for 47.
And he's
actually,
terrible.
$48 million.
And he's
I
terrible.
wouldn't go terrible. Decent defender, can score, can shoot, but he was not the missing ingredient, Trevone, for Cleveland.
He's not terrible. He just can't score or shoot in the NBA in 2025.
No, I didn't say that. I said he was a decent shooter.
I said it.
You said it. Well, he shot 40% from three last year. So what does that have to do with anything? I'm just telling you, he scored average 17 points a game on 40% shooting.
Would he shoot 4 shots a game and made?
I don't know how you do how many shots you shoot, but he scored 17 points in the league last year.
Let's look
on average.
DeAndre, hold on.
64 games last year, 17 points a game.
Wow. And how was he in the? Eastern Conference Finals? Was it?
But it's Cleveland. They didn't make it. I think they made it.
Oh, that's round. Right. They didn't make it there.
Yeah, they didn't make it. Made it to the second round. Yes. I think it's okay, but again, $48 million. If you're gonna commit to $48,
I got it right.
$1 million.
He did make 1.8. See, I told you he made 1.8. That's his career average. I don't know how I remember that.
1.8 what?
He makes an average of 1.8 3-pointers a game.
Oh, okay. Well, last year he shot almost 7. Took 7 attempts a game in Atlanta, and he took 5 attempts a game in Cleveland. So his attempts have gone up. So he'll make about 2 a game. You're right. He'll make about 2 a game, 3-pointers a game. But again, solid player, but not $48 million worth. Got to take a look at the value for what you're getting. And as we saw, Cleveland went all in by trying to get him in that trade with Atlanta, and it didn't quite pay off. Like I said, good solid player, but if he's coming off your bench at $24 million per year, that's not great. Although, again, Naz Reid is going to get that for coming off Minnesota's bench this upcoming season. So we'll see how that works out. Jeremy says, haha, was that play really that bad? No, it wasn't that bad for DeAndre Hunter. But again, your expectations based on what you have, based on what it costs you to have.
Define bad. Let me paint a picture.
Mando on offense.
Let me paint a picture here. Since so many people are so enamored with stats, how good is Austin Reeves? Let's look at his numbers here.
Well, you and I have said clearly before that we think on a good team, on a great team, if everything was perfect, he would be a sixth man off the bench for both of us.
So Austin averaged 20 points a game last year. Best career year, right? How do you do in the playoffs?
It went down from there, which is part of the reason why I think the Lakers should look at moving him.
But who's going to give you a better player than him?
That's why he's supposed to be a good GM. I had options before during the course of the season, which I thought would have, during the summer, earlier in the summer, before the trade deadline and before extensions were signed, that I thought would fill that need a lot better than what the Lakers had. But obviously, Rob,
we define good? You know, the definition of good is sometimes a scale. There's a scale to it, and sometimes certain players, when things get tough, the scale goes down. I judge players by moments. When you look back at the Lakers championship runs, what do we talk about? The intangibles. We talk about the KCPs. We talk about the Alex Carusos. We talk about the Rondos and how they picked spots in important games to really flourish. You look at guys like Trevor Ariza before then. You talk about even Bynum to some degree. These guys performed. LO. Role type players. These guys came through in important moments.
I mean, Austin Reeves is a good regular season player, Joe, but as Steve says,
when you lose, when you are a 3 seed in the NBA and you lose in dominating fashion to the 6 seed, that's my judger. That's how I can judge how good you are. So if you want to bring your 20-point a game discussion into it, you want to bring in this guy got 41,000 points. Oh, great. So are you printing that and putting thumbtacks to that on the wall? Huh? What? Yeah. What are you doing with those stats? Who are they for? There's a reason why they're called individual stats. If you are an Austin Reeves fan, a LeBron James fan, okay, I'll buy your dialogue a little bit. But most of us are not. We are Laker fans. I'm a Laker fan. And I want to prove to you how big of a Laker fan I am. After LeBron won in 2020, because this is how people think, right? They're in that stupid mode of jealousy and you have to tear somebody down to make somebody good, right? Hey, Joe, what if LeBron three-peats? How's that going to look for like Laker history if LeBron got more titles? What if LeBron gets more titles than Kobe? I don't give a shit. I'm a Laker fan. I love Kobe. We'll always love Kobe. I go, but if you called me after 2020 and said, Joe, what if the Lakers win 5 more championships in the LeBron era and everyone starts saying LeBron is better than Kobe? I don't give a shit. My team has 5 championships. That's what it's about. Stats, 20 a game. Oh, he shot 40% from the three-point line. What do you want me to do with that? Wipe my ass with it? I don't want to wipe my ass with it. It's not, I don't need to. I have a bidet. Much cleaner and much better hygiene. Plus, it would hurt after a while. So we got to get out of this. Oh, he's averaging this and he did this in a game in February. It's nice to enjoy the journey. It's nice to enjoy a regular season game. It's nice to admire greatness, a great game. Believe me, I'm not saying don't enjoy it. But don't let that be the end-all, be-all discussion for someone's performance. When you're in a game where winning is the most important.
Well, I don't know who's doing that, Joe, because I'm certainly not.
No, I don't think you are, but because you're a
Some
Laker
people
fan.
do.
You're a Laker fan.
And they try to put in every game. You know how
It's
it
a
goes, Joe. They'll
defense
put it in every
mechanism.
game.
It's not,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. It's a defense thing. Most people want, and this is the we've been bred, and it's not just recent. It's not just social media, but social media has made it more of a style now. Oh, you got to get yours. You got to get yours. So you've built this individuality because you got to be about back, you, and you got to make sure you get what you want. Okay. I got to get what I want. Why don't you just watch tennis? Why don't you go cheer for Djokovic or Sinner? Go cheer for Rory in golf. Go cheer for the individual player. When you're watching a team game, I can never understand how you can watch a team play and really side more with a player. I don't know. I don't. My brain has never gone that way. Doesn't matter. The end-all, be-all discussion here is I don't care about stats. I don't care about 40% from three. What did you do when it mattered? And it doesn't mean you have to win a championship every year. That's not what I'm saying. That's not realistic. If Austin Reeves was averaging 20 points a game and was holding his own on defense and they lost, there's a difference. Hey, look at what Rui did. We've been complimenting Rui. This was his best playoff run. He wasn't bumbling and stumbling like he was the previous 2 years under the basket when he got the ball. He was hitting shots. He was staying in front of his guy relatively as much as he could. Right? We complimented him there. Hey, if Rui can improve on that next year, great. There is a difference. Doesn't mean just because you lost, you sucked. But what really happened in this case is Austin Reeves not improving, not being a 20-point scorer in the playoffs, and being him in the most important part of the year cost the Lakers a win in the series. He was a part of the reason why they didn't. And that's fact. Watch the 5 games. I know I did. So that's what I'm trying to focus on here. I don't get starstruck. I will get amazed at an amazing performance because I admire the athleticism and I admire the talent that very few people have. But in the end, it's still about winning. And to me, I'm going to win every argument when it comes to a player's performance based off that winning because it's a team sport. Don't tell me LeBron is great because he's still doing well at 40. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm a Laker fan. I need LeBron, who's making LeBron money from 2012. He's making 2012 LeBron money, but he's not playing like 2012 money. Now I'm going to start saying some things. Well, maybe LeBron needs to take a pay cut. Is it any different than any other job? Gerald, if you're part of a corporation and you've had a guy that's your top salesman for 10 years, he's getting paid to be the top guy, and then all of a sudden the last 5 years your business loses money, are you still going to pay him the same amount of money? No. He's going to earn what he's been putting in. But that's not how it works in the NBA. It's not how it works in some of these sports, except for football, because they don't like they really went deep in, by the way, recently about guaranteed contracts. They wanted to go even lower. What a shit show that place is, man. That Roger Goodell, the day that asshole leaves, it's going to be a huge party, man. I just don't know if they're going to bring some other dickweed that's going to be just like him. So anyways, I think I've preached enough tonight.
Yes, sounds like it indeed. And he was also on for 2 hours with Sean. So go ahead and check that out on the Joe Soro channel after we go off here tonight. CMB, who's better between MPJ and Reeves? I mean, MPJ is the more prolific shooter. I'm sure you're going to see to give him a chance to chuck up as many shots as he wants in Brooklyn's anemic offense, which will be consistent of if they re-sign him. Of course, what they've got going on with Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. So we'll see what happens there. Who is better between him and Reeves? I mean, both don't play defense at a very high level. MPJ maybe is a slightly better defender, but again, his defense was so great that he was shipped off to Brooklyn. That's good. I think it's dependent on how they fit around the team. MPJ for that championship run obviously fit extremely well for that team. So maybe you give the edge for him simply because of the fact that he's seen that type of success and Reeves has not. But I think it's close between those two as far as their overall talent as far as this. But again, fit quite often is the dictator for what their ultimate success will be. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. And yes, timely shots, timely in the playoffs. It does matter. And it did during that championship season. Didn't quite work out in this last playoff run, but again, he's got the ring, and that's all that matters. But Joe, it's been great having you here, my friend. Great having everyone here. We will go ahead and hopefully have shows, periodically throughout the week to keep you updated on what's going on with the Lakers. Summer League is now over. No more games unless you're looking abroad and seeing what's going on in Europe and all that. But any last thoughts before we head on out? Just seems like we're fixed on the team and roster we have now. Does not look like much is going to be happening down the road, but you never know. Subject to change without.
Well, we've been discussing doing a show that's going to be kind of next level here in the next few weeks.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I think the timing is good considering there's already plans on my end to possibly have a different production at that time. I think with that information and it coinciding with a discussion I already had today, I think it was fortuitous that it all happened in one day. There will be a production difference here in a few weeks when we do it. That'll add a little bit more value than what you see now. So I'm excited to get that going. And I think it's an important time to do it because that's the dead dog of the summer, right? Dog days of summer. So why not add a little bit more entertainment, a little more pizzazz in the times when usually there isn't a lot of information to bounce off the crowd. So I'm looking forward to adding that little advancement to the show, and hopefully it'll mean something for other things.
Hopefully it will indeed. But again, for now, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe to here. Make sure you like and subscribe to Joe Soro's channel on YouTube, and also as well, of course, catch his playback for the Dodgers. I mean, we're on my channel, Lakers Fast Break. It's turned off for a little while because there's no Lakers action. But you know what? On Joe Soro's channel, it's still hopping on playback with Dodgers baseball, Dodgers action. Vari's there sometimes as far as Xbox. Sean stopped by, I heard. Joe's there. Some great people right there on the Joe Soro experiment.
And we will have Sundays there as well. There'll be a lot of Sunday games. We will be the entertainment capital of the experiment.
Fair enough indeed.
Continue.
But exactly. And big shout out again to everyone that makes this a part of what we do. Big shout out to our mods there in the chat. Truly appreciate it. Xbox and Sports Baby tonight, staying right there with you. And again, we will try to have shows throughout the period of time to get you through until training camp. And if this is indeed the finalized roster with maybe a veterans minimum signing thrown in there, then want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Exactly how far you think this team will go. We'd love to hear your thoughts in there. Go ahead and give us a shout out there or Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. Hit the likes like Thema says on the way out, because it is the way out for us. But we'll be back with more shows throughout the summer right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe.